Hello everybody and welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be reviewing the Byron collection. What is Byron? Is it a modular bookcase? Is it a highly customizable wall system? Is it a walk-in cabinet solution? Let's dive in and we'll find out. This composition of the Byron collection is actually one of the possible millions of compositions that we can build with so many customization options. To give you an idea, this is 395 centimeters in width, 240 centimeters in height, and its depth is 50 centimeters for the lower cabinets and 30 centimeters for the upper cabinets. It has been made with fumé, transparent fumé glass shelves and with a special RAL color 8004. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel to keep updated with all our new reviews. So the founding element of the Byron collection is the upright. The upright actually supports all the elements we are going to plan for our composition. We have multiple versions of uprights. We have the floor-to-wall version, which has this L shape and this L support at the upper end. Then we have the floor-to-ceiling version, and the floor-to-ceiling version actually splits in two because you can have linear ceiling or tilted ceiling, and you can also adapt the uprights to tilted ceiling. This is very interesting. And the floor-to-ceiling version can be used for double-sided compositions. For example, we could divide kitchen area from the dining area. We could divide a home office area from the bed itself in a bigger bedroom. So many different. We can create an entrance, let's say beside the sofa. We can have a double-sided bookshelf to divide the entrance of the home, of the house, from the sitting area itself. So the uprights are 3 centimeters wide. So when you build your composition, you must take into consideration, here we have 6 uprights on this composition, so it's 18 centimeters total, which are added on top of the cabinets that we choose. And their height is very interesting because we can go up to 3 meters with a single upright with no joints, and we can go up to 370 by having one joint. This joint is between 2 identical parts which are interconnected one into the other. You don't really perceive it, at least you see a tiny gap, and this is why when I've been doing it with my clients, for example, let's say I go up to 350, 370, whatever, maybe I place the joint at 270, for example, or 260, something similar, and by doing this, to give you an idea, we would have the joint at this height pretty much, and so when I'm moving in my home, I don't really perceive it. And also, you could perceive it on a lighter color, for example, white, cream, or light gray, but you don't really perceive it at all on a darker color. Well, you might think I'm weird because I get excited about how an upright is built, but this is an interesting way of building an upright because it's completely in aluminium and it has a very interesting profile and shape because from any angle I don't see screws, I don't see anything to adjust the upright itself or the shelves, the support for the shelves, and it has a rectangular shape all in all, but slightly rounded sides, okay, and it's, of course, this is a mignon, a tiny sample just for the sake of explaining. It is very interesting because you can adjust the height. Of course, every upright is custom made by the millimeter, and in a composition you take measurements and let's say you have 6 uprights like here, and you could have different measure. It makes less sense on a floor-to-wall upright. It very much makes sense for a floor-to-ceiling upright, and not only I can custom make them by the millimeter, but then I have an adjustment of plus minus 1 centimeters below with this sort of adjustable feet, okay, in the lower part, and you have an adjustment also on the top. So it's very easy. You assemble, you put the fixture element on the ceiling, and then all is done. You just need to use a drill and then the assembling is reasonably easy. Also, the adjustment of shelves is very easy. You have one single screw in the back. No, you might perceive it in a double-sided bookshelf. You will have one side where you see screws and one side which is totally clean. On a floor-to-wall composition, well, you will never see screws. And this screw is actually, when you untighten it, you can actually raise or lower the support for the shelves. So please forgive me for my excitement, but it is a very interesting shape and very well built. Let's talk about the colors available on the uprights. You have standard aluminum. I showed you a sample before. You have a total of 16 standard colors, so you have much choice. In general, it is the paint that is used is powder paint, so it's also very reliable in ears and reliable to scratches, very much resistant. But we also have the opportunity to have it painted with RAL colors. And one says, well, you know, in some industries in the business, they offer 2 colors, 3 colors, something similar, and we already have 16 standard colors. Why going to the extent of offering hundreds of colors? Because we want to have a very extreme customization degree, and this allows, for example, to have a coffee table made with the same RAL color. It allows us to match, if not an identical color or finish, to pretty much match the color of a fabric that we choose. And it also allows us to manufacture chairs with the same RAL color. So having this staggering number of possibilities allows more potential in terms of interior design. We have yet another option for uprights of the Byron collection, which is LED lights. LED lights are actually mounted on the back of the upright. They are perfectly integrated in the upright itself, and they produce a nice effect in terms of lighting, because I do see the light reflecting on the wall. I do not suggest this sort of LED lighting for a double-sided bookshelf, but it's beautiful when it's against the wall. I don't see the lighting fixture itself, and I can see it when I move right beside the bookshelf. Then I perceive the LED light, but it's not a standard perspective in your room. When I'm in front of the bookshelf, in front of the wall system, I simply enjoy the light produced. And I can also say that when every light is turned off and I keep the system on the bookshelf or wall system, it's the perfect lighting condition to watch telly. As to the lighting of the uprights, every upright has its own AC converter, and all these converters are hidden below the composition and are hidden by the lower cabinets. So you can see that you have transformers all along the composition, but they're not visible. So we've spoken deeply about the uprights. Let's talk about all the elements that we can add to create your own custom collection. So we have shelves, we have cabinets of all sorts, we have desks, coming from different collections and multiple materials. Let's start from glass shelves. They are custom made in width and custom made in depth. They are 1 centimeter thick. We have multiple options in terms of finishes. We have transparent glass, extra clear transparent glass. We have fume glass, bronze. We have also colored glass. And you must take into consideration that with colored glass you can have any color really. It can be glossy or frosted colored glass. Bear in mind that when you color glass, you color by painting it from the underneath. And so in a bookshelf like this, when you have painted glass, you would have a different perception when you're looking at the glass and you're looking from the top. You do perceive the color that is underneath. You do perceive it through the glass. When you look at a shelf which is above your eyes, then you perceive the actual color, and so the your perception, the overall look of this painted glass will be different from between lower shelves and upper shelves. So this is something to consider when you're planning and choosing your materials. Here we have the fume transparent glass I really love it. I just love it like the bronze glass. This leans towards grays, while bronze is toward the browns. I really love it because it's, let's say, warmer than transparent glass, but it's identical, not depending on from where you're looking, just like a tinted glass, as I was explaining. And let's have a look at the supports. You see a lower part. Of course, for every shelf, for every element, you have a couple of them. And then there's the upper part of the support, which keeps the shelf perfectly stable. Let's review more in depth the heritage elements, which are cabinets and shelves. We discussed in detail the glass shelves, but we could have the heritage shelves, which are lacquered, matte lacquer in all sorts of color, RAL and NCS. They're 3 centimeters thick. Their depth can range between 24 and 32 centimeters. To give you an idea, this is 30. You can make them up to 149 in width, and above 121 you will have a metal support which supports the weight of the objects in the middle so that the shelf does not flex. And let's talk about the cabinets. The cabinets of the Heritage Collection are characterized by this very peculiar door, which has these staves effects. It's very fashionable right now, and we use it in multiple situations. We make beautiful bathroom furniture with this sort of door. It's actually MDF, which is then carved in order to create this staves effect. On all elements, you don't have handles, you don't have grips. The door itself is actually higher than the structure that it covers, and then it's slightly angled, so in order to make it more beautiful. Okay. Actually, when open it, you don't see it and perceive it in the video, but I can perceive the beautiful smell of artisanal lacquered furniture. This happens because it's brand new here in the showroom, and it will happen also with newly delivered furniture, but it tends to wear off after a while. And these are all water paints, so don't expect a strong smell of something chemical. It's not that I will stand there smelling the furniture, but when you perceive it, it's a pleasant smell. This I can tell. And this is very interesting, the fact that we custom make these cabinets in width as well. But this is tricky in the sense that you cannot choose a measure with even numbers. You cannot say, okay, I will have a cabinet which is 100. You must choose between 99 and 101. It must always be uneven numbers, and this happens because if you look at the staves, it must be an uneven number, because if it had been an even number, we would have on one side we would have a negative part, the absence of a stave, while with an even number we always have on the sides a positive stave, the presence of the stave itself on both the left and both the right. So we can probably perceive it more on a smaller element. You see, well, okay, this is probably something like 61. It means that we have 61 slots, and this is why we cannot have even numbers. In this collection, we can have the lower units, which are, we said, 50 centimeters deep, and you can have tilting doors. In this case, it's a drop-down door, or you can have big drawers. The drawers are made with kitchen-derived mechanisms, and this is actually a nice point because even well-built living room furniture, wall systems, have mechanisms which are, I would say, lighter than kitchen-derived mechanisms, and so this is since it's kitchen-derived, it's really heavy-duty, and you can really place much stuff inside them. Okay. And also the mechanism itself is custom made in width, based on the cabinet that you purchase. Here we have a look at the tilting door, okay? And this leads us to the upper end, and we have hanging cabinets. Of course, for hanging cabinets, you can choose whether the door opens towards up or goes down. And here is another interesting point. Well, first of all, the inside of all items is completely lacquered, just like the outside. And we see the mechanism itself, the arms that are being used. And this is an interesting story because this sort of mechanism is quite old-fashioned, and a colleague actually, when he saw it, asked, but why on such a high-end solution we use this sort of old-style arms to open and close? And this is tricky in the sense that since it's custom-made in width, you need to have a way to adjust the resistance of the arm itself. For example, you have more modern tools for the drop-down doors. You can have a tiny metal wire which accompanies the door going down, okay? Or on both versions, going down or going up, you can have pistons that push the door, but those tools actually can be adjusted to certain widths. So you adjust it for the 64 centimeters door, you adjust it for the 96 centimeter doors, you adjust it for the 128 centimeters door. And for example, in the plant collection, you find this sort of pistons that works perfectly. In this situation, where you actually can choose whether you want it 99, 101, 103, 105, 107, those sort of pistons would not work properly. Why with this old style mechanism, which is very basic in a good way, you have a screw here in the circle, and you can tighten or untighten this screw, and thus you can adjust it, and you can always have the perfect resistance to open and close the door itself. So we've come to the end of today's product review. It has been quite extensive. I really appreciated that you stayed up till now, and see you next time. Bye bye.